Hey, how you doing today, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Sorry that it is so late. How's everything going with you?
Um, Good. Yeah. Good. I'm on military orders right now, so that's why I'm in my car. I had to travel today, so um, but yeah, everything's been good.
That's good, man. How far did you end up driving?
Uh, 6 hours.
6 hours?
Yeah.
That's on the other
Yeah.
side of the state, isn't it? Mhm.
It's actually only halfway up the state.
I forget you're in California.
Well, yeah, yeah. It's like maybe not even halfway up the state.
Whew,
It's
I don't
crazy.
know if I could do it, man.
I know.
I have to drive more than 2 hours. I start thinking of flying.
Yeah, I wish. There's no airport around. Yeah.
It's nothing wrong with that. How long are you up there?
Till Monday.
Monday?
So yeah, Monday.
Oh man, so they took your whole weekend, huh?
Did I don't know why they schedule these things over the weekend, but yeah. Oh well,
Uh,
it's not too bad.
okay. And what are you doing up there?
So we're doing like soldier readiness processings, doing pre-deployment behavioral health screens. So basically, try to get their medical readiness squared away to see if they're deployable. You know, a lot of these people have injuries, or they're taking medications that they can't deploy with, or like their PTSD might be too severe, or depression, or anything like that, to where they still need treatment before they actually deploy. So they're not ready yet to deploy. But most of them are usually deployable. So we just do some screens to check in on them, and then provide them with some resources for their area they live in.
So just
So,
pretty much doing some diligence for the military.
yep, basically, yeah, saving them money before they ship them all out to a big base and have to do this all over again, and then send them back home. So we try to do it here locally.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah,
So, is it going to interfere with your training? Because I know you have a triathlon coming up that you really wanted to do well in.
yeah, kind of. I'm not going to be able to swim.
Okay.
I did a group swim, so I started doing the group swims on Monday. So I did that Monday. I did it last Monday, and then I started doing group runs on Tuesday. I couldn't do it last night, but um, yeah, I'm not going to be able to ride. I didn't bring my bike, so they have a stationary bike I'll use. I'll try to do some interval training on the stationary bike, and then do some running. Brought my running shoes, so I can do a lot of running while I'm here, work on that, and do some weights. So do a lot of, like, maybe upper body weights that incorporate that use swimming muscles. Work those out, and work on some core, and do some of that while I'm here. So I'll definitely make the best use of time I can while I'm here.
Oh, okay. Well, it seems like you're adapting well to
So
kind of being away from some of your training stuff. How did the group swim and group runs go?
good. So it was good. The group swims um, went really well. There was, like, I think 17 of us last week that were out there swimming. Yeah. So it was a range of abilities too. So there were a lot of fast swimmers that just were way out in front, and there were some people that were behind me. So I was kind of like right in the middle too. So that kind of felt good, confidence wise. And yeah, getting the time in. I spent like 35 minutes out there just kind of swimming continuously. So without stopping or anything like that, and getting used to the surf and dealing with the waves, and
Okay.
that was good. And then so yeah, I did it again this week. It was a smaller group, but I was still kind of right in the middle of the pack. So so that was cool. It's nice getting out there and being pushed too, because you see the person in front of you, you're like, oh, I don't want to let them get too far away, and I don't want these people behind me to catch me. So it, like, definitely pushed me too. So it was good. They hold them twice a week, so I'm going to start going twice a week. And the group run, that kicked my butt. That definitely kicked my butt, which I needed. I needed to be pushed running. We joined, they have ability groups, and so I joined the fastest ability group. And we did, what did we do? We did 8 600s. So 8 600-meter intervals with like a minute rest or something like that. It didn't seem very long. And after about 6 of them, I was dead. I was tired. And then I started like finishing it. I kind of finished like in the middle of the pack, and then slowly after each interval, I would kind of move toward the back of the pack in the A group. So I finished the last in the pack, but that was the first time I've done intervals in so long, and so it was good for me in that it pushed myself. Like it pushed me to run faster. So I definitely needed that, and it was good to be around runners again, socially, and get to know more people who are running, and so I can kind of get more involved in that group and run harder, and having a more specific workout than just kind of going out and doing 4 miles or something.
So it's definitely a welcome change, a good change for you. It's not something that you were, it wasn't your typical routine. It was something that gave you a little bit more energy, a little bit more positive. You could see some differences, and it kind of broke up your routine that you had going on, so you feel a little bit different.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great experience, and so I'm looking forward to getting involved in those groups on a regular basis, so that and get used to the workout, because I was sore for for almost a week. My calves are burning from those intervals. So definitely need more of it.
Okay.
But yeah, very helpful too.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad that change is a welcome change, and it definitely seems like it's gonna turn out for the better for you. I'm happy that change for you is probably definitely what you needed, and you seem more energized, more upbeat, more confident. You're building that confidence, so that's always a good thing. We want you to go into your next event just confident, knowing that you can do it, and that you're definitely improving. So, yeah, this was definitely. I'm glad that the change definitely helped you out in that manner. So, with that being said, how'd you, other than being more confident, did you notice any other changes as far as besides the physical, kind of like how you think? Because you told me how you felt as far as feeling more confident and feeling more engaged, especially when you're around people of varying degrees of ability. Because you're not as bad as you were, but you also know you have that room for improvement. You have something to strive for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was there any changes in kind of the thoughts that you might have had going away from or toward anything?
Yeah. With the running, I noticed that, like, even though I finished last in that ability group, I mean, that was the first time I did intervals in years, like truly did them with a pack. And like, so I know, like, it was cool to see that if I do that more often, I know I'm going to improve dramatically and be up there with the leaders in that pack. Like I found that out. And so that kind of motivated me to like get back into running again, like, okay, if I just put some time into running, like I can be really good at it, and I can be up there with them and run with them. Like I can, if I just put the time in. Like I've done it before, and it was kind of a good reminder of like, okay, I need to start doing it more. And it kind of fired me up, and like, okay, I can do that. And so with the running, it inspired me to put more time into it so that I can make those improvements. With swimming, the first group swim, I was definitely anxious. I felt anxiety about going to do it. I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't know. That's a lot of swimming, in open water. Like, but once I got out there, the second session, I wasn't nervous for it. I was kind of excited to get back into the water again and just I'm still not like totally comfortable with it yet, but definitely a lot more comfortable with the idea of basically going out into the ocean and swimming, you know, a long distance or something out in the water for a period of time that I didn't think I could do before. So that it's a little bit more comfortable, if that makes any sense. So
Oh yeah.
that's what I noticed with swimming. Yeah.
It takes that initial fear that you might have had, aside from just kind of jumping in, practicing in a pool, and then going into open water. Now you're practicing in open water. You're kind of doing it's almost like a dress rehearsal, a mental rehearsal with similar similar conditions. You know, you're going to be out there with people. You know, you're going to be out in the ocean and not in a controlled environment. This is the ocean, and now that you had a taste, and you're with people that needs to improve and that are pushing you. You're kind of like, oh, this is that initial fear is gone, so you're more likely to engage in it. And being with that group, you had that positive experience. So at this point, like, how does it feel when you're in the water with those with people? What's going on? What's going on with your thoughts and everything now that you are getting a little bit more comfortable with not just swimming in there, but actually practicing in there as well?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that. I noticed on Monday that I was more focused on technique and, you know, the actual stroke technique and doing it, you know, the right way, and not kind of worried about like how much further do I have, and like, you know, the swells coming up, and like trying to breathe with the, you know, the salt water coming up, and, you know, like just all this other, you know, stuff. It was more technique focused, where I could really just kind of concentrate more on that. But then, you know, obviously stuff still came up, like the water splashing in my face while I'm trying to breathe. You know, trying to make sure I still see the swimmer ahead of me, so I'm not swimming in the wrong direction, like too far away from shore, or start swimming too close to shore where all the waves start hitting me. So I got I guess my direction, and then looking for the swimmers next to me or behind me, because, you know, they're around me somewhere. I got to make sure they're still kind of there too, like we're all kind of moving the same direction, and I'm not getting like past. And but I noticed it was a little bit more focused on technique, and a little bit less, fear and anxiety, or just negative thoughts like that, stuff like that. It was just more focused on technique.
Okay, so really your only possible distractions is just, instead of going away, you know, that takes you away from the actual technique, is just making sure your surroundings are where they need to be. Like you said, the people that are around you, making sure you're in the right direction, and, you know, making sure that you kind of stay with the group, and you all are going the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also I notice, so I try to breathe on both sides. I try to breathe inland, like facing inland,
Okay.
because the swell will come. I try to breathe inland, if to make it easier to breathe, so I don't have to worry about the swell. So focused on that, but then there's like, with the wetsuit, there's some like chafing that happens around the neck, because you turn your neck to, you know, breathe, and you move your shoulders and all that. So I gotta buy Body Glide for that. But and then keeping a line of sight on my surroundings, and then technique. So trying to keep track of all that is a lot.
Okay. So with that, I will say that you obviously are aware of everything, and that's definitely something that we want to address. We want to kind of minimize those distractions. You're aware of some of the other things that take your focus away from your actual technique, which is, like you said, your bodysuit, making sure you are where you are, and the other people around you, and of course make sure you don't run into anyone. And I don't know if you received my worksheet. Do you have that pulled up?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So you understand the distractions. This is something that I want you to have with you. You can make multiple copies. It's just something that is for you to use going forward. And it looks like you can see the minimizing distractions. It will explain external and internal distractions. But for you, it looks like most of your distractions come from interruptions in your technique and ensuring that you're doing exactly what you need to do. And your external distractions are, of course, the people around you, making sure you are where you are, and like you said, your wetsuit. And if you look at that, if you were listening to any distractions, say the next time you practice, you want to make sure you have those in there. What was distracting me? And what that internal distraction will take you away from your actual swimming technique. So if you have that list there, you would put the first one is your wetsuit. The second one would be the people around you, and your third one would be just ensuring that you're going the right way. Because these are still kind of worries that you will have, but they will go away as the more that you practice. So what are you more worried about practicing, keeping your focus on? Is it just the technique, or is it kind of the different directions, like all the things that you have going on?
I think probably the most important is the making sure I'm swimming straight thing, because
Right.
every few strokes I have to break my rhythm to kind of look up and make sure, you know, my land markers, if I'm looking at like a palm tree or something, like, okay, I got to keep that on my left. Or if I'm looking at a swimmer ahead of me, every few strokes I have to just pop my head up real quick to kind of, you know, look. And that kind of, so I got to try to figure out how to get back into rhythm and kind of focus back on my technique after I do that, instead of like, oh crap, I was swimming too far left, like I got to go right now, and then, you know, start to panic or something, like I'm going the wrong way, or something like that. I think that's the most important. In a race, there's all these buoys that
Mm-hmm.
helps, and there's a bunch of other swimmers, so that helps. But it's still, you know, I'd like to swim in the straightest line possible. So yeah, try not to let that distract me too much about popping my head up and checking my sight, checking my direction, and then going back into the stroke, the technique, and the rhythm and all that.
So what we want to do, because you focusing on your technique can be kind of an internal distraction if you're focused too much on it, that you're not aware of your surroundings. So we have to change your
Yeah.
your focus as well as keeping it in line with your rhythm. So beforehand, before you start the swim, can you see the ending, like the buoys in the water, or can you see the actual end point? Like, you know, you're swimming straight across. Do you know exactly, if you looked out before the race, could you see the finish line for the swimming portion?
Yes.
Okay. So what we want to do is, while you're doing this, so you don't have to break rhythm, when you take your stroke to breathe, can you also see around you?
To the left or right, whichever direction I'm breathing in, I can glance while I'm breathing.
Okay. So what you want to do, you want to use your finish line as what we call the attentional cue. And we can put this, and this is something that once you see the race, you can create these attentional cues. This is usually a stationary physical object or a movement to kind of bring you back toward where you should be focusing. So when
Okay.
you're swimming, instead of having to stop, kind of expand your glance to in front of you. So every 10 strokes, bring your head up instead of completely stopping. Kind of bring your head up to make sure you find whatever that cue is, which could be a particular buoy or the finish line or something in the distance that will not move, and that you always know that will be there. So when you come up for your stroke, you can kind of go to the side and just look in front of you for a second, just to keep you in line with where you need to go. And with that, you'll actually see what's around you as kind of a secondary, kind of as a secondary glance. But you know, instead of stopping, that one little piece, part of your technique, kind of take a small glance in front of you, find that cue, then keep going. But don't full out stop, because you don't want to lose your rhythm, then have to get right back into your rhythm.
Yeah.
Because the hardest thing to do is to start, then stop, then start, then stop, because you're always interrupting a good flow that you might be in at that time. And you can probably adjust in the middle or toward, instead of having to find it and, okay, I got to start, and then find it, then start. Try to start practicing setting your attentional cue, which is that object, and then aiming for that with your swim, with your stroke.
Okay.
Is that something that you can do, kind of start practicing just to make sure? Because if you're concentrating on everything around, then you have to constantly stop. It's taking your focus away from your technique, and you don't want to be so focused on the technique that you're not aware of where you're going.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely get lost in that. Yeah. So definitely, I could definitely use the next buoy, and then in practice, I could use. I think they were using palm trees or some sort of trees as a marker of to swim toward, or to keep it on a certain side or something like that. So, and I can talk to the group too to find out what exactly they use. But I like that with every 10 strokes or so, or something like that.
And if you look at the worksheet, it explains a pre-performance routine, which is what it'll focus everything on what you need to do to a singular point of when starting your practice and your competition for the triathlon. And it's just going to be a set of mental and physical behaviors. Now, for you, this is just an example, and this is something I want you to do on your own as you think, and then go out for your next group practice. Is start to create that pre-performance routine, whether it's saying certain things to yourself, such as a trigger word like straight, or this rhythm like every 10 strokes up, just to kind of focus yourself. And then as your attentional cue in your pre-performance routine, find those markers, find your buoys, find the ending point where something that you can focus on that'll keep you going straight. Like you said, the palm trees. And you want to do that, kind of relax yourself and start it through every practice and then every competition. That way, you know, you relax, you kind of have a plan in mind, and you can maintain not only your technique, but also your rhythm, so you don't have to constantly take your focus away from technique or maintaining your rhythm and stop, look around, then start again. And it's just kind of awareness. It's kind of narrowing your focus and then widening it just to make sure you are in a comfortable space around other people who are swimming around you. And that's going to come with practice, because you're going to, now that you're more comfortable with being in open water with people around you, you can start adding this to your practice each time you're out there with the group swim, the swim groups.
Okay, yeah. I like that. Yeah, I'll work on that pre-performance routine too. It seems make it especially important for the swim.
Yeah. And it's something that you can do one for the whole race, so you can do one for each portion of the triathlon. If you need to do one with running or with biking, it will help. But because the swimming is what we're on now, and that's kind of your most challenging portion, we want to create it for this first. Because you're getting more comfortable with actually being in that environment and performing in that space. And this is just, remember, it's practice, it's a dress rehearsal, it's meant to get you comfortable when it comes to a competition time.
Yeah.
Did you have any questions for me about about creating that plan? And remember, this can be used for anything that you want to do. If you decide that you want to do obstacle course racing or just kind of go back to long distance racing, this is something that you can use in any facet of athletic competition or even while you're at work or in your personal life.
Definitely. It's funny, I never even thought about it. I think I had one for running when I ran races. It's funny, it never occurred to me to never had one for swimming. It makes sense to do something like that for swimming. So yeah, I can start doing that during the practices.
All right.
Find a way to get myself ready.
So again, I do like the fact that you're going out here, you're in these groups, these training groups, to help push you, energize you, motivate you, and to get you more comfortable with your environment. But this little aspect should help you focus and concentrate a bit better without focusing too much on one singular thing that's going to take you away from everything else. Like I said, creating your attention cue, and even create trigger words. So if you find yourself kind of focusing, or if you find yourself stopping, say you want to say swim or forward, or some trigger word to kind of put you back into that mindset and going forward instead of a full out stop. And this should help you going forward with this swim, because you just don't want to do what you're doing.
Yeah. This is keeping that flow, that rhythm of the stroke. Like, I think I like that number too. Like, I got to find a good number of like how many strokes, and then look up. And I think that might help me incorporate a rhythm of, and maybe I can find something, phrase or counting or something to get me to get in a rhythm of every certain strokes, look up a little bit as I keep going, more strokes, look up a little bit, and then keep going.
Yeah, something that feels natural.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you have any questions for me about the worksheet or what we discussed today?
No, I don't think so. I'm just something that feels natural. I like that. I don't think so. I don't think so. It seems like it's going to help me focus on, like you said, a more broader picture, I guess, external and internal kind of focus. So yeah, I'm going to try this. Guess my next swim would be Monday. So I'll try it Monday night.
Okay. Well, if you have any questions, man, while you're writing this out or kind of going through your own trainings while you're kind of away on duty, just feel free to give me a call or email me. My number's at the bottom of the worksheet. I'm usually pretty available, and if not, you can leave me a message, and I'll respond as quickly as I can. I usually have a pretty open schedule. I have a pretty open schedule. And also, if you have any questions after trying it with your next training group, please get in touch with me. And it looks like it's getting a little dark over there, so I don't want your MPs to come get you, man. So I don't want to hold you up from that. But if you have any other questions, just let me know, okay?
Okay, yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
All right, now check back up with you next week, okay?
Okay.
All right, man. You have a good evening.